Hi everyone, welcome to my shack. My name's Gerald, and I've come to the Alternative Fuels Forum to learn about propane. I want to do a propane changeover from gasoline for my drag bike. It's totally grass and dirt. It doesn't run on pavement. But I'll give you a quick runabout here and show you what it's all about, and then we'll get down to the propane part. I'll just give you a walkabout and we'll talk about things. I'll try to keep these videos short, but they do tend to get kind of dragged out. A lot of things to say, a lot of things to show, and not a whole lot of time. So I'll just I'll give you a show of my equipment and stuff here first, and then we'll get right down to the bike. Okay, here's some of my equipment here. It's no big deal. I'll just give you a quick brush by. I seem to get a lot of questions about it when I do my videos, so you can have a look for yourself, and then I won't have to answer a bunch of questions. Just grinders and drills, and I've never used that drill. She's brand new. I have a mill here that I do a lot of work with. It's all just manual. There's no fancy computers or anything with it. All of my stuff is pretty basic, really. You know, there's nothing elaborate about it. My lathe, it's 4 foot, 13.5-inch throw, I believe, if I take the deck out. And I can do, it's all manual too. You can do damn near anything with them. Make any outie threads, backwards, left, right, whatever you want. It just takes a lot of thinking sometimes, that's all. Just a lot of stuff, man. I'm in the process of building a 30 by 40 shop, but I won't be into that till next summer or whatever, so half of my house is shop. Anyway, the Dragon, that's what we're here about. So far he's been a 3-year project. He's won every race that he's been in, hands down. Like I haven't even had a good challenge, really. Nobody can beat it. Not in this country. And I think you'd have to go quite a ways to find someone that could. It's a very simple machine. I kept it that way so that I can work on it in the field. I don't have to, you know, wait for 2 or 3 weeks for parts to be imported or whatever. Front end, Honda Sabre, 1982. Stock vintage fender. I like that. I waited for almost 2 years to find that fender. V-Rod front wheel, 19-inch by 100. It's got a small little tire on it. It grabs very good. It keeps it really stable. Of course, the engine is out of a 1986 RX-7, a Mazda. It's a rotary engine. It's a twin rotor. Stock with fuel injection. I think they produce somewhere around 170 horsepower. I don't think I'm pushing that. I think probably, in all honesty, maybe 150 if I'm lucky. Clutch. I did a lot of machining on this clutch. It's a Polaris clutch. It's out of a Polaris. Well, it's a Polaris clutch. I'm not going to get involved into things like that. It takes too long. All the machining, all the mounting and stuff that I did to the engine, I did it all myself. It took me forever, but the secondary is a team clutch. I'll just take this out here. It's a team clutch. It's works great. I can pin her wide open throttle from, well, that's what I do every time from a stop, and it never shudders or hesitates or anything. The original one that was matched with this clutch, with the primary, I blew it all to hell. I don't know. I never did find the pieces. All I had left was the cross shaft and a chunk of stuff on the hub, and the rest of it was just gone. Good thing I have shields. Rear wheel is also V-rod. I'm running a, what is that? A 120-100 Kenda Millville sticky. Like I said, V-rod wheel, Harley brake system. I built all that. Actually, the disc is made from a sprocket. All the brackets and everything I built. Everything on this bike is built. I don't buy anymore. I buy the pieces and then I fit them together. 1-inch axle. Nice and beefy. I've never had a problem with any of that stuff. This tire here, he's getting ripped up pretty good. I guess I should have washed it before I brought it in. Lots of knobby there left, but they're getting pretty rounded out. I've got a new one for it. I think I'll be studding it. Put about 80 studs in it or something, and for next summer. Sprockets are also, the drive sprocket on the rear is handmade. I made that, well, the sprocket I bought, but I had to cut it all out and drill the holes and whatever. Chain guard, not very big, pretty simple, but it does the job really well. I threw that chain a couple times and it contains it very well. The ignition, no cap, no nothing, no button, no rotor. All I do is use the pickup in there. It's a single fire, direct fire. I built my ignition modules, actually they're 4-prong GM modules for high energy ignition. I run one for each rotor, one coil for each rotor. There they are there, they'll be moving too. Twin vacuum gauges. I have one that for each rotor, and they are a little different, they always are, which is, well, at least the gauges tell me that, and not much, but a little bit different. I run a thumb throttle. My hands are too screwed up to be able to hang on. I can't hold on very good anymore. So I have just a thumb throttle. I can release it really easy that way and still hang on tight. It's pretty hard to stay on. You gotta hold on. More than you might think. Anyway, I think that's probably the frame. I totally built this underslung frame. I had a hell of a time trying to figure out what to do over the top here and make room, so rather than fight with it, I put all the strength into the bottom. A lot of you probably been around enough bridge work and whatever that things get pretty strong if you build them properly. Put things in the right place. Those gussets that you see are cut right into the frame all the way to the, like this gusset here fits all the way back to here, so there's more strength in here than you might think too. It's very rigid, there's no give at all. Works well. Like I say, he's never lost a race. It's my second set of headers. The first set, well, they just couldn't take the heat, I guess, and they just started coming apart. It was almost like glass, you know. They just started breaking. The one I pulled off by hand, and the other one was just a ton of cracks and stuff in it. Yeah, so that's the second set, and actually, I guess they won't be around much longer either. I've been crying I want more power, and bump start. We're members of another forum here, and he came along and he's going to help me out, give me a bit of instruction. Actually, he's the one that directed me to this forum. And we're going to see if we can give him some more power. We're going to turn into propane here. I've had no end of problems with gasoline. My tank's mounted back here underneath, one on each side. Actually, I could carry about 3.5 gallons of gas. Never had any grief with that part of it, but vapor lock, fuel pumps that don't want to work, and I don't know, the harmonics of the engine seem to be, I have my pump mounted right underneath the engine on the frame there. I don't know what it does to them, but they only work for a few days and they're done. They can't even pump air after that, it seems. So here we are. This is what I'm running now, or have been running. It's just sitting there actually. It's a 500 Holly, a highly modified, I might add. It has no jets or anything left in it. This section here, this one here, I adjust my jets, my high jets, with that lever. Actually, it worked really well, but when you're racing on dirt and stuff like that, when you've got floats the way carburetors have, gasoline carburetors anyway have floats, they just bounce like hell. It had flooding problems, and then it would have lean problems and all kinds of grief. Nonetheless, he was still a winner by far, but yeah, there's the trophy that I won with him this year. It's a nice little guy. And I want to keep these trophies. Well, it's mine to keep, but I want to win another one next year. That's why all the carrying on here. There's where I won it. This is over by Young, Saskatchewan. Good bunch of guys. Actually, I rode with some of those guys, 40 years ago or more. These fellas I don't know. They're the ones, one of the members of that club. Made this for me. It's custom made. It's kind of cute. I could have had just an ordinary wooden one with some stuff on it, but this one's much nicer. My new rad too. I have a new rad mount in there. There's the old guy there. There's the new one. The new one's a double pass, high volume fan. That old guy, he's got two fans on the other side, but there was no shroud or anything, and it did the job, but barely. You know, it was always right on the edge, so we're dealing with that at the same time. Well, I'm sure by the time we're done here, we'll be creating more heat, so we have to be able to cool it down too. Okay, carrying on here. There's a bump start modification here. My oil pressure, we modified the release valve and whatnot in it. I run about 30 pounds idling hot, and up to somewhere in the 90 pound, 85, 90 pounds at wide open throttle, which is, actually you don't have to go that high. By the time you hit 3,500 RPM, it's up to that. 8 grand, she's 90 pounds. Okay, there's this carb, like it, of course it's going. All this stuff's just sitting here. I'll take it off. Excuse me for the wiggling here. Okay, yeah, this intake I built everything here too. It's these engines in '86, they were all naturally aspirated and they were fuel injected. So I took part of the bottom and did what I had to do. Okay, now for our propane, I noticed that the Holly base on these 200 carbs, inside they cut back to about there somewhere. So that'll increase my volume by quite a bit too. Probably, I'll bet you there's 15% or more if you cut this out. So I'll be doing that. Now the regulator, I plan on mounting right in here. This is, can't see very good. I'll get a light. Okay, down in here, of course there's the EGR valve, right? It's just a block-off plate that I built out of an old one. I'm going to build an aluminum plate there, and then maybe I'll mount, I think I might mount the regulator right in underneath here. Lots of nice heat under here too. And this hose that I'm mucking with here, it's a coolant bypass line. It circulates fluid constantly. It's the first hose to warm up, and it's the hottest all the time because it circulates water in the keg rather than anything that's been cooled. It just keeps circulating it and keeping it moving so that I guess so they both run the same temperature. But anyway, I think that's the line that I'll use for the coolant for the regulator. And of course from there it's going to be a really short trip through the lock-off solenoid and into the carb. I guess I did ask the question about whether I could have it higher than my tanks or not. I guess when you think about it, it's kind of a self-answering question. It just liquid's pushing itself wherever it needs to go. So basically, I guess that's what we're going to be doing here through the winter. When I get this changeover made, then I'm going to start with the turbo. I might, if there's enough interest, I might do the turbo on this forum too, just for fun. We'll see how it goes, see if people are interested or not. If not, I'll probably go back to the Mazda forum. But I don't have a problem staying here and sharing it if people are interested. Okay, and the black tank will be, I'm planning maybe, this is going to be easy here. Excuse me for the shaking and whatever, it's just not set up properly. It'll be somewhere in here. I don't know exactly how or where, probably up a little higher like that. There will be, of course, a guard around it. Everything will be protected. And I'll run my high pressure line from here to the reg. And I'd like to run two of these, one on each side, but I don't know. It gets pretty, well, I could probably run one up here someplace and guard it. Anyway, enough about tank. That's basically what I'm going to be doing and where it's going to mount. So you can take that for what it's worth and say what you like, but that's what I'm doing. It's just the way it is. Okay, so I think probably I've find about all that's necessary here for now. Now, I really do welcome comments or suggestions or whatever you might have. The threads that I have in different forums around, I always welcome people to just come on in and visit and tell me what you think. And you don't have to be just talking about what I'm doing. Feel free to talk about what you're doing too. Maybe we can compare some things and get ahead that way. I really do encourage input from people. Like I said, you know, just because I don't use it, a suggestion or two, it doesn't mean that I don't think about it and read it and whatever. I am pretty stuck in my ideas, I guess. It's pretty hard to get me to change what I'm doing. But a few suggestions, experience, I guess. You guys, I know nothing about propane changeovers. I mean, we all know what the hell propane is, but I've never dealt with it as far as for vehicles or engines or anything. So this is a new curve to me. Don't be afraid to put in your 2 cents. Okay, thank you. Got to show you my Honda Hobbit. I totally rebuilt that guy a couple of years ago too, just for fun. I have rode it a little bit, but not much. It's almost like new. Actually, I had it out at where I raced the Dragon. I took it around the motocross course and crashed it. I broke the headlight on it, but felt like a real dumbass after that trip. But guys asked me, you can ride that other one, you don't crash, but that little guy, he bucked me right off. I hurt too, goddamn thing, but it was a lot of fun. Okay, there you go. Have a good evening.